Welcome to another spine-chilling episode on Fear Files. Tonight, we delve into 3 eerie tales that will make your skin crawl and your heart race. First, a family's dream home turns into a nightmarish ordeal when they start hearing ghostly whispers from within the walls. What dark secrets lie buried in the mansion's past? Next, a suburban house holds more than just memories. As unsettling voices grow louder, the Andersons uncover a chilling pact that threatens to tear them apart. Finally, Join Us as a Family discovers a hidden chamber filled with ominous artifacts. What dark force have they unleashed, and can they survive its wrath? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying tales. Brace yourself, because once you press play, there's no turning back. Let the horror begin.
The Thompson family arrived at their new home as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the grand mansion. Sarah Thompson gazed at the imposing structure with a mix of awe and trepidation. The mansion loomed before her, its Gothic spires and intricate carvings hinting at a bygone grandeur. "This place is something else," Sarah's husband Mark said, breaking the silence. "I hope we made the right decision." Sarah smiled reassuringly. "It's perfect. Just what we were looking for. A bit of history, a bit of mystery. It'll be an adventure." As they unpacked the last of their belongings, the mansion creaked and groaned, its old timbers protesting against the intrusion. That night, Sarah and Mark lay in their new bedroom, the sound of their children's laughter echoing from the rooms below. But as the clock struck midnight, an unsettling whisper broke the silence. Sarah sat up, straining to hear the faint, mournful cries that seemed to emanate from the walls. Mark, half asleep, dismissed it as the house settling. The whispers grew louder each night, becoming almost unbearable. Sarah began researching the mansion's history, determined to uncover the source of the ghostly voices. Her investigation led her to dusty old records and forgotten archives. Late one evening, Sarah stumbled upon a local historian's journal detailing the mansion's past. She learned that it was once an orphanage, where a tragic fire had claimed the lives of several children. The caretaker, James Whitaker, had been blamed for his negligence. Sarah's discovery was chilling. The whispers and cries seemed to be connected to the tragic event. Determined to find answers, she delved deeper, piecing together the story of the orphanage and the fire that had left it in ruins. As the family settled into their new routine, the hauntings became more intense. Objects moved on their own, and eerie apparitions of children appeared in the corners of their vision. The atmosphere in the mansion grew increasingly oppressive. Sarah's research revealed that James Whitaker had been a cruel and authoritarian figure, responsible for the children's suffering. His spirit, bound to the mansion, sought to torment anyone who came near. The mansion itself seemed to react to the family's presence, its walls shifting and groaning as if alive. Sarah's attempts to confront the spirit only led to more terrifying encounters. She knew that to free the trapped souls, she would have to face James Whitaker and put an end to his vengeful hauntings. Sarah prepared for a ritual to confront James Whitaker's spirit. With the help of local experts and ancient texts, she gathered the necessary components and performed the ritual in the mansion's grand hall. As she chanted the incantations, the air grew cold and the shadows deepened. James Whitaker's apparition materialized, his twisted, malevolent form glaring at Sarah with burning eyes. "You dare challenge me," he hissed, his voice filled with rage. Sarah stood her ground, her voice steady as she continued the ritual. "By the power of light and justice, I release these souls from your torment." The confrontation was intense, with the mansion itself seeming to fight against the ritual. But as Sarah completed the final incantation, the spirit of James Whitaker howled in defeat, and dissipated into darkness. The mansion fell eerily silent as the vengeful spirit was banished. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the ghostly voices faded away. The Thompsons felt a sense of peace and relief, knowing they had freed the trapped souls. However, the mansion seemed to reject their presence. Strange occurrences continued, and the mansion's once grand appearance began to deteriorate rapidly. The Thompsons decided to leave, knowing that the house would forever be haunted by its dark past. As they packed their belongings, Sarah looked back at the mansion with a mixture of sadness and resolve. The history of the house was now a part of her, a reminder of the tragic events that had unfolded and the importance of seeking justice for the lost souls. The Johnson family arrived at their new Victorian house with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The grand structure loomed against the backdrop of the dense forest, its intricate woodwork and darkened windows casting long shadows in the setting sun. "It's perfect," Mrs. Johnson said, attempting to reassure her family as they unloaded their belongings. "Just needs a little love." Emma Johnson, the youngest daughter, peered up at the imposing house. "It's a bit spooky, don't you think?" Her older brother David chuckled. "It's just old. I bet it has some interesting stories." As night fell, the house settled into a deep silence, broken only by the occasional creak of the ancient wood. Emma lay in her new bedroom, the shadows from the flickering candlelight dancing on the walls. Then she heard it, a faint whispering coming from behind the walls. The whispers grew louder each night, echoing through the house's darkened halls. Emma, unable to sleep, decided to investigate. She followed the whispers to the attic, where she discovered a hidden trapdoor beneath a dusty old rug. Inside the hidden chamber, Emma found an old journal, its pages yellowed and brittle. The journal detailed a sinister pact made by the house's original owners with dark entities, seeking power and wealth. The entry spoke of sacrifices and rituals performed to bind these malevolent forces to the house. Emma showed the journal to her family, but they were skeptical, dismissing it as an old legend. The whispers, however, grew more insistent, and strange phenomena began to occur. Objects moved on their own, and shadows seemed to twist and writhe in the corners of their vision. As the family settled into their new life, the supernatural disturbances intensified. Emma's parents, once dismissive, grew increasingly worried as they experienced terrifying visions and unexplained phenomena. The house seemed to be alive with a malevolent presence. Emma continued to study the journal, uncovering the details of the pact. The entities bound to the house demanded sacrifices to uphold their agreement. The journal described horrific rituals performed by the original owners, their souls forever trapped within the house's walls. The family's fears grew as the entities' demands became more direct and their behavior more aggressive. They started experiencing nightmarish hallucinations and disturbing encounters with shadowy figures. Tensions within the family escalated as the entities' influence began to sow discord. Arguments and mistrust grew among family members, fueled by the entity's sinister manipulation. Emma watched helplessly as her family members turned against each other, driven by fear and paranoia. Desperate for a solution, Emma researched historical accounts and sought help from local experts. She learned that the only way to break the pact was through a sacrificial offering, a ritual that required immense courage and selflessness. Emma prepared for the final confrontation, knowing that it would come at a great personal cost. She faced the malevolent entities in a desperate bid to save her family and end the cycle of torment. In a dramatic showdown, Emma performed the sacrificial ritual in the hidden chamber. The air grew cold and oppressive as the entities manifested in their full, terrifying forms. The house itself seemed to fight against the ritual, its walls vibrating and groaning with fury. Emma, trembling but resolute, completed the ritual, offering a part of herself as the sacrificial offering. The entities howled in rage and pain as they were sealed away, their power waning and their presence fading from the house. As the last echoes of their malevolence disappeared, the house fell eerily silent. Emma and her family, shaken but relieved, knew that they had escaped a terrible fate. With the entities banished, the Johnson family attempted to rebuild their lives. The house, though still grand, seemed to bear the scars of the ordeal. The once charming Victorian home now held a haunting silence, a reminder of the dark pact that had been broken. Emma, forever changed by the experience, looked back at the mansion with a mixture of sadness and resolve. The house had revealed its darkest secrets, and though the entities were gone, the memories of the ordeal lingered. The Johnson family left the Victorian house behind, carrying with them the lessons learned and the courage forged in the face of darkness. The house stood as a silent sentinel, its secrets buried once more, waiting for the next unwary soul to uncover its haunting past. The Anderson family moved into their new suburban home with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The sleek, modern house stood out amidst the traditional homes of the neighborhood, its clean lines and expansive windows reflecting the late afternoon sun. Its grand entrance and immaculate facade promised a fresh start for the family. "It's perfect," Tom Anderson said, surveying the empty rooms with a satisfied nod. His wife, Lisa, and their 2 children, Emily and Josh, bustled around, eager to turn the house into their new home. The house was equipped with the latest amenities and designed to provide comfort and convenience. However, its seemingly flawless exterior belied a deeper, more unsettling history. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the Andersons settled in for their first night. The house was eerily quiet, save for the occasional creak of settling wood. The silence was thick and heavy, as though the house itself were holding its breath. Later that night, Tom awoke to an unsettling murmur from within the walls. At first, he dismissed it as the house adjusting to its new occupants, but the whispers grew more distinct, almost pleading. He checked the house's security system and found nothing amiss. Shaking off his unease, he went back to sleep, unaware that the house's dark past was already beginning to make its presence known. The whispers continued, growing louder and more insistent each night. Lisa, initially dismissive, began to hear them too. The family experienced a series of strange phenomena, objects moving on their own, eerie shadows flitting across rooms, and sudden, unexplained drops in temperature. Josh, the younger of the 2 children, started having nightmares about dark figures whispering through the walls. Emily, more perceptive and sensitive, noticed cold spots and strange noises, even during the day. Concerned, Tom decided to investigate. He combed through the house, checking for any structural issues that might explain the odd occurrences. His investigation led him to the basement, where he discovered a hidden door behind a stack of old boxes. Curiosity piqued. He opened it to find a small, dusty room filled with old letters, journals, and photographs. The room seemed to be untouched for decades. Tom took a few items upstairs, hoping they might provide clues. That night, the family's unease turned to outright fear as the whispers became clearer and more coherent, recounting a tragic tale of betrayal. Tom and Lisa pored over the old documents, trying to piece together the story behind the haunting. They discovered that the house had once belonged to the Evans family, who had run a boarding school for troubled youth. The school was notorious for its harsh discipline and mysterious disappearances of several children. The journals detailed a sordid tale of betrayal and murder. The Evans family had made a pact with dark entities to gain power and wealth. In return, they were to offer up sacrifices, and when the debts of the pact went unpaid, the spirit of one of the betrayed children sought revenge. The family's anxiety grew as the haunting became more intense. Lisa's once cheerful demeanor became clouded by fear, and Tom found himself struggling to maintain a sense of normalcy for his family. The voices grew louder, often converging into a cacophony of anguished cries. Tom and Lisa found themselves drawn deeper into the house's dark past, unable to escape the growing terror. They realized that their new home was not merely haunted, it was a battleground for the spirits trapped by the past. As the haunting reached its peak, the Anderson family began to experience more sinister phenomena. Lisa and the children began to exhibit strange and erratic behavior, seemingly influenced by the malevolent spirit. Lisa, usually calm and composed, had frequent outbursts and displayed an irrational fear of the dark. Emily and Josh also began to act out of character. Emily, once studious and reserved, became withdrawn and irritable, while Josh's nightmares intensified, leaving him fearful and uncommunicative. Tom felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. He reached out to local historians and spiritual experts, hoping to find a way to confront the spirit. Through these consultations, he learned that the spirit's anger stemmed from a betrayal that had gone unpunished. The family's situation deteriorated as the spirit's influence grew stronger. The house seemed to pulse with a dark energy, and the Andersons were increasingly isolated, their once hopeful new life now consumed by dread and despair. With the haunting escalating, Tom realized he needed to act swiftly to save his family. He delved deeper into the history of the Evans family and their pact with the dark entities. The old journals hinted at a ritual that could appease the spirit and break the pact, but the specifics were unclear. Tom began preparing for the ritual, gathering the necessary items and seeking guidance from experts. The spirit's demands grew more insistent, and the family's safety was increasingly at risk. Tom worked tirelessly to decipher the ritual, hoping it would be enough to end the torment. Tensions within the family reached a breaking point as the spirit's influence drove them to the brink. The house became a prison of fear, and Tom struggled to maintain hope amidst the growing chaos. The once vibrant family was now shadowed by the malevolent presence that sought to claim them. The climax of the haunting was both harrowing and dramatic. Tom performed the ritual, using the items and knowledge he had gathered to confront the vengeful spirit. The atmosphere was thick with malevolent energy, and the house itself seemed to resist the ritual. As Tom chanted the incantations, the house was filled with a cacophony of ghostly voices and violent apparitions. The walls shook and the temperature plummeted. Tom faced the spirit in a desperate confrontation, learning the full extent of its rage and sorrow. The final moments were a battle of wills as Tom fought to complete the ritual. The spirit's tormented cries echoed through the house, and Tom felt the weight of its anguish pressing down on him. With a sacrificial act of redemption, he managed to appease the spirit and end its reign of terror. With the spirit finally appeased, the Anderson family faced the aftermath of their ordeal. The house, once a place of terror, began to feel more like a home again. The whispers and disturbances ceased, leaving behind a sense of uneasy calm. Tom and his family were forever changed by their experience. They had faced their fears and uncovered the dark secrets of their new home. The house's haunting legacy was now a part of their lives, a constant reminder of the past that had nearly consumed them. The Andersons eventually decided to leave the house behind, seeking a fresh start away from the shadows of their former home. The house remained, a silent witness to the darkness that had once lingered within its walls. As they moved on, Tom and his family carried with them the lessons learned and the strength gained from confronting the darkness. The experience had tested their resolve and forged a bond that would endure through the trials ahead. The suburban house, now freed from its haunting past, stood as a testament to the enduring power of redemption and the resilience of the human spirit.
That concludes our night of eerie encounters on Fear Files. We've journeyed through haunted mansions, uncovered dark pacts, and unleashed malevolent forces. From ghostly whispers to terrifying secrets, we hope these tales have left you breathless and on edge. Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. What did you find the most chilling? And remember, if you enjoyed tonight's scares, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of the horror. Until next time, keep your lights on and your doors locked. Sleep tight, if you can. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next frightful adventure.